here from Hartford, and then we'll just beg your city officials to bring Right Fit into City of Waterbury. So Mr. Thomas, if you can give us 7 minutes of your overview. So sorry. Welcome to Mom's Rule. The school at least 2 times a month. That's the minimum. 2 times.
Oh, come on, we can do better than that.
I need to figure out what's going on here.
So yeah,
You work here on Tuesday. All right. It's very important. We'll have the conversation with those kids. So take this one.
Yay, parents!
Find out the older kids for the older students and stuff like that.
Okay, this goes to K through 5, right? So it's something to think about. I want us to think about college readiness as a whole.
Let me get one of those so I can go through it and they can get it afterwards, and I can tell the rest of the parents how to
Okay, we will give you one in Spanish, so let them know if they...
I'll tell you a little history about what I was doing and how this all got started. My son played basketball back in 2000, and we lived in South Windsor, and we kind of went through the town, did really good. They played really good, went undefeated through the season. So I told him if you really wanted to learn more about basketball, and if you really wanted to get serious into it, we need to go play in Hartford, where the competition was a little bit more better. Competition in Hartford, Waterbury, New Haven, anybody who knows a little bit about basketball, those areas are really tough competition. So Mr. Kelly back there, who's recording, and myself, Mr. Kelly said to me, you need to do your own team, and because you're going to make sure that it's done a certain way and it's done right. In 2003, we met up with the University of Hartford, Larry Harrison's coach, and he said if those 4 boys graduate from high school, I will give them 4-year scholarships. So to me, that was huge. I was like, you know how you always try to figure out what your worth is, what do you put on this land to do, not for the pat on the backs or anything, but knowing that we were able to help X amount of students go to college, to me, that was big. So then we started our after-school program. We started checking out the students' grades, making sure we started pushing it. And one thing I can tell you as parents here, and it's good to see that you all are here, parent participation is a must. The only way to put these students in once we recognized what we had to do, we had to put them in certain tournaments. And the tournaments that we wanted to put them in was the tournaments that they were going to get the most exposure. They went 3 years to Las Vegas. They played in that national tournament down there. It was funny because some of the boys never even been on a plane, much more out of Hartford. They didn't even know what they had to do. I was like, just pack your bags, don't worry about it. So what do we got to do, Coach? You're not flying a plane, be quiet. You're getting on there and sitting down. So anyways, we went there. Out of 344 teams, we always came in the top 20. So they did really well. Out of our group, from that original 12, 10 of them are currently in college. In the last 3 years, our organization has helped put 30 kids in college.
Wow.
Okay. So and I'm telling you, like Coach Kelly, myself, there's many times that we have used our own money, because even though parents had some funds, they didn't want to invest into the child. But we knew with certain students that if they had certain opportunities, it would be different. And there's times that, sometimes I say to Coach Kelly, I know we spent a lot of money, but was it worth it? And then to seeing that we have those students in college, it was worth it. So to give you an idea how this kind of worked out, and for some of you could just follow along, we got a 5-step program that we put together, all on internet, all online. Parents could pay attention to keep track. One of the things that I'm telling you parents that I believe that you should start pushing, when I was in the Hartford School District and I presented this to the Hartford School District, they wanted to start it at 6th grade. Once they wanted to start it at 6th grade, then we said to ourselves that, I understand where she was coming from, but I also thought at 8th grade, that's when it should definitely, how they want you to do the reading and writing package for your students? Start putting a profile together for your child. because you as parents know what kind of child that you have. Either your child's going to go educationally, he's going to go vocational. Okay? So as we are growing our children, we need to help our children and guide them in the proper areas of what we feel that's going to be what's going to be best for them and make them good members in society. A lot of times students are in school and they feel that the teachers aren't teaching fast enough for them to keep up. And all of a sudden they're labeled special ed. Okay? Or people not truly understanding the homework and don't have the necessary resources to help them. So the profile gets created. Now, I cannot tell you the amount of times with my players and with my own kids, okay, that a child will come home with an F. Okay? How come I didn't get that call when he was getting that D? Okay? I wanted to know when he was getting that D, he was about ready to head to the F. Child will come home with an F, and there's no phone call back from the teacher or anything. A guidance counselor is supposed to guide. Trust me, if a guidance counselor has 200 to 300 students, how much guidance is that guidance counselor going to truly do for your child? At least with a program like this, we could track it. So for example, the students that are doing well at a 70 and above, we might say we might not worry about those students too much. But the ones that are 70 and below, or however we want to put our criteria, then those are the ones that we have to put a little bit more effort into. Try to work. I can't tell you the amount of students that they sent us, and they said they have that they're special ed students. Now, back in the day, with a special ed student, I thought that the student would have some type of severe illness problems or something that would definitely need extra help. These students had behaviors and social skills. They didn't have any. So we help identify those, and when you come to find out, the kids are really smart. And it was kind of scary. So anyways, back to the profile. This profile, the guidance counselor should help the student with the information. How many parents are asking for your child's grades and you can't see it? Or it takes too long for you to get a copy of it, or you don't even get a copy of that grade. Okay? This program, guidance counselors can input the information, parents could be able to log on, get this information. Then you can also monitor your child, because technically that's what you should be doing. You should be monitoring that child, because if you're expecting that guidance counselor to monitor it, that's why we're in the situation that we're in. There's too many students for a guidance counselor to have to deal with. Now, the part about the program that I like really a lot is the college search. This part of the program, which I was very fortunate enough to help me with those 30 kids. And here's what I'm saying. A lot of parents around here, they're always dealing with, they're sending their kids to colleges that are in the surrounding areas. Well, you don't know what's out across the whole United States. There's colleges, especially up to the Pell Grant, that'll take your child. Okay? There's colleges that if your child, say, is to play a sport, and just don't think about the sports, think about if it's a ballerina. Think about if it's a gifted writer. Think about this for all children. If you have a college that is looking for that type of individual, not all colleges, you're not going to get the information from everybody. This program, you can go out there and do your search. Just to give you an idea, I did a search on my son. Yep, he played basketball. Was his grades good? His grades weren't good. He had under a B average. How many hits of coaches that he had from currently around the United States? 90 hits came back to me. Wow. 90. Now, the reason why his grades were low is because when I had him in the public school, he wasn't what I call being monitored properly by the teachers when they had him there. And as far as us, I'm keep on begging the teacher, if he's slipping in grades, I want to know. So it wasn't that I wasn't an active parent. When I had him in private school, he had ABs. More structure. Some of our kids more structure. I can't tell you the amount of kids. Your time, huh?
Yes.
All right. So just to wrap it up, if you go to HartfordKnights.com, if you want to learn more about this information, yeah, www.hartfordknights.com. Damn,
www.harfordknights.org. I work with him a lot.
Okay, you can find out more information and we can help you out.
Okay.
All right?
Yep, we'll be back. And we're going to bring him back to the school district because it's very important to start early thinking about college.
We need him here in Waterbury.
We need him here in Waterbury. Yep, and we'll follow up. I'll make sure this information is given to your schools. So we have less than 5 minutes. So I wanted to just get a poll of how many kindergarten or preschool children that we have currently on the bus. Parents that have preschool children. Okay, would you need a book in English or in Spanish? I just need to know which one you need. English? Okay. So, yep, that would be great.
Trying to stay safe. There we go.
I'm going to give you a book. Even if they're in preschool, it says, let's get ready for kindergarten.
Sorry.
Now, if you have a child in kindergarten.
Thank you.
We need some in Spanish, too.
Okay, I'll send that back.
Espanol would be good.
Espanol, and I'll make sure I have some for the school as well. Yep, right here.
How many in English, please raise your hands.
Thank you,
1,
Bernard.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you pass these down, 7? Can you pass these down that way to the people who need it?
And how many need it in Spanish?
Pass this down,
1,
please.
2. Oh, there's another dad back there. Hi, Dad. We got something for you.
Hi, Dad.
Is it? Hi, Poppy. We have something for you. He's looking at me saying, he's talking to me.
More in English.
More in English, how many?
3, I think.
There you go. How many in Spanish?
4.
Now, how many kids that are going to first grade or second grade? Because if so, I still want to give you the Let's Get Ready for First Grade. It has some strong foundational information. So let's get ready for first grade. No, we just have that one in English.
Right. For preschool, kindergarten, for first. We need 2 more in Spanish.
2 more in Spanish? Great. Okay, great. Now, as I give you this book, I want you to know I'm on a first-name relationship with this author. I met her from Wisconsin in Washington, D.C., and so she's in a lot of the Head Start programs. So she said we're willing to work with the school districts in Waterbury to get these books in. And they're good for grandmas. How do you say grandma in Spanish? Abuela. These books are very good for grandparents who are trying to build their vocabulary and reading. We're just in a new age. It's okay. These books work very, very well. I've gotten just as many grandmothers reading these and grandfathers as we do young children. Yes, we have Spanish.
Okay. I need some more for first grade.
Take a picture of me taking a picture.
So I don't think I have Spanish, but if I get the count, I'll bring them back to the school. And let's get ready for first grade.
Thank
only
you.
in English. She's working on the Spanish
That way when they
version.
say there's
Now,
pictures.
that's it.
Well, there's a reason.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
then we have one more grandfather. I know we had one. Was there another one? Okay, I got you. Oh, I got you covered, Grandpa. You are covered. Okay.
You got Gwen over there. This
Okay, so real quick as we wind it down, I do want to give you information from the Department of Children and Families. I want you to know, sometime when we think of the Department of Children and Families, we know them as foster care. They're the ones that take our children when things don't work. But they have a new commissioner now, and they're really looking at building relationships with families and communities. And they're really looking for parents of color, Hispanic and Latino, to be foster and adoptive children, adoptive parents. We have more babies like in her lap, infants, babies. Every 3 minutes there is an infant that is abused or neglected. Doesn't mean we're bad or good. Some need more supports than others, right? We want to make sure the kid's safe. But what is happening is they don't have families to move them in. And before they used to have congregate care. We had babies in rooms like this, which makes no sense. So they removed it, and so now we want to see, I want us to open our minds to see Department of Children and Families more as a resource. And to know that we don't have to let crisis hit us. If we need support, it's okay. I understand fear, right? Because you have the power to take my child. But at the end of the day, we are human. And we are in serious economic times where we have more homeless families. Whole families have lost their homes. Black and white. Hispanic poverty has no respect to person, and neither did this recession. So again, we have information from the Department of Children and Families in English and in Spanish. I'm going to give these out, and then we're going to wind up so we can pass these down, little notepads. Here are for the parents that said they might not be visiting their kids every. Yes, so you're going to write on this pad, I will visit my school 2 times a month. That's what that pad is for. 2 times a month, and I will be coming to your house if I find out you didn't go see about your baby. Now, I know we work a lot, so if you can't do it, then it might be grandma, right? It might be the husband. It might be a friend. I think I have a few here.
Let's see, we don't have too many here.
All right, do we have any kids? Do any of you have any high school kids? 1, 2, Holly. Cut. I changed it to reading.
Okay.
So I made it, 'tis the season to be reading. So I'm going to sing the carol verse for time, and you would say, la 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 la. Ready? Ready? Okay. I keep my daytime down. 'Tis the season to be reading. Reading open worlds of learning. Reading builds self-confident children. Reading rocks and parents rule. Yeah!
My name is.
Yeah. Okay, so as we leave out, she said, make sure you look to your neighbor left and right. Introduce yourselves because we can hold each other accountable to visiting. And
my name is Margaret.
Restaurant bonding holiday. Okay. So I have. Okay, I have. X-Men clubs. No. Okay. How many of you have? I think these are boys, baby boys. One there. I got more in the bag. 2 because we got to go. Frazier, I'm keeping on time. 3. I got more in the bag.
Necesitamos. ¿Cuántos? Is that 1, 2, 6 back there?
We have some banks for you and some hats for the. Okay, those are babies in the bag. So, but those boys are girls. Those girls, right? 1 boy, good. I have a red one, a green one, and a pink one. Ask them which ones.
Pink, pink and what else? Red.
Pink and red. Can you tell me how to say pink in Spanish? Rosas? Rosa. Oh, you're serious. Okay, and red. Rojo and Rosas, but don't keep me to it. Then I can do my information in the bag or reach out to Lisa because she's a walking megaphone. Yep. Thank you and have a great holiday season to all of Hopeville.
You know what? Hopeville right now is on the top of the list.
Okay.
Serious.
If you fill these out, I can take this.
Thank you. Of the Connecticut Parents Union, and working with all of you, we
have the launch of the Parent Express. So let's give all ourselves a round of applause. Life to deal with, and then tomorrow we have life to deal with again, and then the next day we have responsibility to our children. So whether we're having good days or not good days, we are still the first responders to our children. And I appreciate the work of the children of the Village for Children and Families, because there are some families who need more support than others. And we're still all here working together, because at the end of the day, it's about the well-being of children, but in order to make sure they have a safe environment, we have to work with family. I'm a mother of 4 children. 2 are currently, I brought one today so he gets an excused absence from school, but he is working. And I do that because I want to teach him the importance of compassion. I do that to teach my son the importance of giving to others. Because when I'm gone up and meeting with my maker, I want to know that I've laid some good foundations for him. So working with me is not an option. So, today we're celebrating 'Tis the Season to Be Reading. And then I thought I'd throw in the caveat of the bus. Because we're in a crisis in the country, because we're trying to improve schools. But it's not just the teachers alone. It's not just the administrators alone. It's not the lawmakers, because we vote them in. How many of you are registered voters?
It doesn't have flash on.
How many of you are not voters? I got your cards in the front. Will you be 18? Bring funding to organizations like these. We need them to speak on our behalf. You know me from an organization called the State of Black Connecticut Alliance. I founded the Alliance because when the recession hit, we noticed certain populations were doing worse than others. And it was the African American, the poor, and the Latino. It has nothing to do with the color of our skin. It's just how things are when we think about poverty and access to opportunity. So I founded the State of Black Connecticut because I wanted the state to know, don't forget that there's one Connecticut, and every citizen in it needs to be at the decision-making table, because we are as strong as our weakest link. It's not as strong as the biggest politician or the one with the biggest pocketbook, but it's the one that we're strong as our most vulnerable. So this beautiful young girl here, the young man there, that is why we're here. My son, and for all of you. We want to make sure parents and family are healthy and viable, because they don't vote and they don't sign medical release forms. We do. So fast forward, I founded the State of the Connecticut Parents Union to be more inclusive. I had so many people of all colors, and so I said, okay, instead of black, they might not think they can join it. And so parents need to understand their power. I formed the Parents Union. So the Parent Union works together with parents like all of you to protect the educational rights of children. Because most times we make decisions that are in the best interest of adults. But again, they don't vote and they don't sign medical release forms. So we all, as the village, are responsible for their well-being. Not just mom by herself, not just dad by himself, not just the CEO by himself, and not just a parent by herself. It's us who make the difference. So I'm going to start with the presentation to you, and then we're going to go into some quick things. I know you have a party. I need a time checker. Who's going to take time for me? What time is it? Oh, I got 10 minutes to make this thing happen because you have a party. So, on behalf of your governor, Malloy, Governor Donnell P. Malloy, and the Connecticut Parents Union, we present your CEO on behalf of all of you. So this is going to be in your center, the proclamation of 'Tis the Season to Be Reading. It's long, but it has some good information. But the bottom line is, we the village must ensure that our children are ready for the future. My son is supposed to be wearing a graduation hat. He didn't want to wear it. So our goal, where's the graduation hat? We call this the fashion hat. So our goal is to get our children as young as her, the ones in the womb, ready for this fashion hat. So here is the proclamation. Congratulations and thank you for the great work. And we get the CEO. You can't beat a village like that. When you have leadership accessible, that's a very important thing. And I want us to recognize that.
Well, let me say,
we need to do his face this way, please.
I have to thank you for coming to the village and choosing the village as one of the places that you visit. But I'm gonna tell you, the village is a great resource for families. But I think the best resource for children really are the parents. We believe in parents. We believe in the engagement of you and telling us what you need from us, and we will be there for you to represent you. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for doing all the work that you're doing.
Yes. Thank you very much. And we'll see you again.
Gwen, I just need to hold the proclamation
Oh, you
thing.
need to hold the proclamation. They got cameras going. That's what CEOs. That's what happens.
Turn it around.
There we go. 1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna keep my daytime job. Halves are not in. So at this time, I'm going to introduce Miss Maria, and then she's gonna do a little bit of English and Spanish. So we got like 13 minutes.
13. What?
We got to be out by 11. I gave 11:55. Okay. So she's gonna do a mini presentation. She's great. I happen to work at Gazelle Institute at Yale University, around early childhood development. She's the Spanish speaking staff, and she is super awesome. So she's gonna give you a little fun presentation.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Good morning. As we go around the state of Connecticut, one thing that has really impressed me is many Spanish-speaking parents say, you know what, I do not get involved because I don't speak English. No excuse. You have the power, and it is a superpower that we have languages going on in our schools. And right now, let's just do a little song. So we get some Spanish, get some language. It's really important in early childhood to get that language going on. The more language we know, research shows, when I'm ready to get up there and read, I know those words, and I start reading. And Latino population, along with African American population, we are a little bit behind. We didn't know by now. Something's got to happen. Something's got to change. Within my position in Giselle Institute, I go around and we train parents. We train Latino parents how-to skills. Did we know we have an alphabet with the same language, with the same sounds? We have the M, P, S, L, R, R, L. So we really get this going at home. We're able to transfer. Research clearly shows these skills are transferable. What happens when a child is in a classroom where it's English only, where I'm only listening to a book read in English? My brain development at this moment in time, I need to have an opportunity to get my critical thinking going. I need to ask questions like how, when, where, why. Sometimes those opportunities are not available. At home, I have to do this. We have to do this to get this pushed out. It's very simple, but it's a well-kept type of secret. Research shows that phonological awareness is one of the skills, that's the play with language. One of the skills that's lacking behind to have a successful future in reading in Spanish. I can do this very, very easily. Who speaks Spanish here? Okay, do you remember tres tristes trigos? Do that 3 times really quick. 1, 2, 3, go.
Tres tristes tigres comieron trigo en un trigal.
Wow. All right. And what does that mean in English?
3. Go ahead.
3 sad tigers ate
wheat in
in a place.
Okay. He is what the CEO just did was alliteration. We are doing the same sounds as Silly Sally sips of soap. We can do it at home. It's super important that we're able to give these simple activities what we had in our culture. But we haven't been able to, we're not expressing ourselves to say, you know what, there's something wrong with English language when globally children who clearly, we had somebody on the bus the other day, we were talking about China, the science people.
Okay. Oh, okay.
China and India, China and India are the ones who are producing math and scientists around the world. They have 3 or 4 languages going on. There's something wrong. And you really have to question as a parent, once we listen to this fantastic woman over here, we'll really rethink what's going on with our children. We need to push, and we need to push with all of our resources. Parents, we're going to make it happen. So, let's do a little simple little song. You probably already know it. Let's just get some interaction here with Spanish and English, which is, I was like, no, don't make me do it. She's like, you gotta do it.
This song, and you have to be ready.
All right. We just did it down in Wallingford with little preschoolers and their family. It was wonderful. And you must know it. It says, hello, 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 and how are you? I'm fine, I'm fine. I hope that you are too. Hola, 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 ¿y cómo estás? Yo bien, espero que tú también. Okay, so you guys are, okay, go ahead. English over here? No, you can do the Spanish.
Oh, I think
All right, here we go. So we're going to start, and we'll have a little interaction. We'll see how these languages, even though you didn't, you still can communicate together. Ready? Oh, hello.
Hola.
No, do it in English.
Oh. I'm ready to be bilingual. I'm ready.
I know you are.
Okay.
We all need, we don't not even bilingual, we need 3 or 4 languages on top. Forget bilingual, that's like,
That's right.
uno, dos, tres.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, and how are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I hope that you're fine too.
En español. Hola.
Hola.
Hola, ¿y cómo estás?
Yeah, I love teamwork. See? Yay! Shout out to teamwork.
So the situation is when we have these language skills going on, and I'm speaking for Latinos parents, but even with our own children, language is super important. Conversations are super important. When we begin at the home dinner time, conversations are kind of gone. It's out of our culture. It's really, really crazy. But intentionally building those skills in our children, intentionally having these conversations that open. They're not closed. My famous thing is like, how was school today? What is the siempre? What is the la respuesta? What's always the answer we get? How was school today when we speak to our children?
Fine. Okay. Good. Nothing happened, Ma. Trust me.
What is fine? What is fine? What is good? What is boring? When we begin to have these types of conversations all the way down, even when they're 2 years old, 3 years old, they're learning constantly. Their brain development is just absolutely wild. And the more we feed it, the more we're just ready for things to learn and success happens. So when I say, how you doing today? And someone says good, I was like, what is good? Open it up. We need to have some open conversations with our children. Because the more that we begin to sembrar, we begin to plant into their lives with these conversations, with bonding, by the time they're 17, 18 years old, when they have a question, Mom, what about this? Or maybe you see them going with a bad decision. This trust, this bonding comes all the way back to early childhood. So you say, you know what, this guy does not bore you. You know, I mean, how many times we get into that? This thing is not for you. We have that in us because I planted that in them. And you're your first teachers, you're the first mentor, you're the first disciples. And when I have that thing coming up in my life, my trust, my bond with my mom is okay. I'll clear off and keep on going the way I am. So I just want to thank you very much. You have the power within to change the world. We have to rethink English only and really, really begin to educate. Saying, you know what? There's a school in El Paso. They started with bilingual, dual language in kindergarten. By the time they were Spanish speakers, they got the English. By the time they got to first grade, they put another language. They already had Spanish, English, put another language on. By the time they're in junior high, they put another language on. These kids are the most sought after, which they had nobody. I mean, they're terribly, absolutely academically down and failing. Once these languages came back on these kids, they're the most sought after in the world because they came out with 4 languages. My question, my thing to you is, we need to rethink English only. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So I know we're going to move it forward. So there were some opportunities, because again, I know you have a party at 12. I'll be back for my cake and my cake, right? Okay. So we had some other presentations, but because we lost some time, I do want to make time with you, if that's okay, parents, that we bring the Parent Express bus back to you in the spring. So we're going to keep that on the radar, and we're going to, because we had a college readiness presentation by the Nice Youth Organization, but again, time is not on our side because we're going to Main Street next. But we do want to make sure we're having the college ready conversation, because even though when you see the graduation cap, you're thinking high school, some people are just graduating to kindergarten, right? We're graduating life. We're trying to mainstream life. So imagine you graduating the school of life, right? We're in a lifelong learning pathway. So right now, we're going to get our kids for the babies, ready for preschool. We have to expose our children to school environments because it's getting very competitive. We got people with degrees competing at McDonald's. So we're in a different place in the country. So this bus is mimicked after the U.S. Department of Education because they did an education and economy tour. So again, we will bring this back to you so we can fill in some of the gaps we didn't get a chance to share with you. But I'm glad to meet all of you. I will also come back and leave some information for you parents, for the parents here, because we do have free membership. I'm waiving all membership fees to be a part of the Parents Union, and we have year-round parent engagement training. It's never too late to learn a new skill. There is no manual for parenting, so that means we can do this thing one day at a time. So how many kids do we have, or how many parents currently have kids go either in preschool or going to kindergarten? Okay, so we have some Let's Get Ready for kindergarten, both in English and in Spanish. Do we have any first grade? Oh, okay. The one that's in Spanish is in both languages. That's actually the better book. I would love to give that to everyone.
I have 20 kids in here.
Yeah, get the preschool. How many kids do you have there? 20. So I can make sure I make a packet. I'll coordinate with you. Is it Lisa, your contact person? That's who I spoke to.
It could be Lisa, Kimberly.
Are you Miss Lisa? Oh, give her a round of applause. She did this for you. Like overnight. We're like talking on Sundays. And again, that is what I talk about, effective leadership. So it doesn't become a program. This becomes a way of life to build strong communities and strong families. So Miss Lisa, kudos to you. I want to work with you as we continue on, and to all the great staff. So we have, what about our Let's Get Ready for first grade books? Are they here too? We left it, they must, I had a whole box. It must be still in my car. And we do have Let's Get Ready for first grade, but I will coordinate with Lisa to see what our numbers are. We'll bring you some Connecticut Parents Union information, bring it back. And so before we close, we'll leave you some get you some dad books as well. So I wrote this carol, but how many, as we close, how many of you know this for reading? So I'm going to give you the chorus, save some time, no, I will say the words and you will give me the chorus. Are we ready?
Ready.
Yeah. You know, we got to be West Haven, we got to be, who was it, Waterbury?
Oh my God.
So we have to do it up because we have to let them know in Hartford we got it going on. Ready? 'Tis the season to be reading. La, 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 la. Reading open worlds of learning. La, 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 la. Reading builds self-confident children. La, 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 la. Reading rocks and Paris rule. La, 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 la. Thank you very much for joining me. May you have a great holiday season. Senator Gloria Romero.
Let me just thank you so much, and for Gwen. I wrote the historic parent trigger law in California that give parents real rights to fight for your kids. And Connecticut was the second state in the nation to take that law and run with it. Then Texas passed it. 15 states are now looking at it. Bottom line is, we don't need a hired lobbyist in the Capitol. We are the lobbyists for our children's future. So work with us to pass strong parent laws. We can do it. It's for the future of our kids. Thank you so much for coming on the Parent Trigger bus. And I'll tell everybody in California about how parents rule here in Connecticut.
That is right. I know they're going to come back, so we're all ready. We're ready. Work together. So
Senator Gloria Romero. It's an honor to be here in Connecticut today, riding on this bus, the Parent Express. You know, about 2 years ago, I wrote a little bill that took on national implications, and it was called the Parent Trigger Law. It's signed into law. California was the first law in the nation. I wrote that bill. The second law was, of course, right here in Connecticut. After that, Texas and 20 states in the nation have now adopted or introduced some version of Parent Trigger. And all that it does, all that bill says, is that parents have rights. That with the power of a signature, the power of petition, the oldest, most stable form of democracy in America, that parents would have the rights to simply say, we are tired of failing schools. We recognize that education is the civil rights issue of our time, and we, the parents, are going to do whatever it takes to turn around schools, to make sure that our kids have opportunities for the future. So from California to Connecticut, I want to be on board. I mean, we've heard real examples of parents who have been arrested, faced with felony counts, threatened with 20 years incarceration for simply trying to enroll their children in a higher performing school. That is absolutely amazing that we would find in a country where the most important court decision, I believe, was Brown versus Board of Education, that simply argued that you can't have separate school structures. You can't have separate and supposedly equal systems. We know that education is the foundation of civil rights. It's the basis for the American dream. So parents are going to keep on fighting. And that's why when Gwen called, I mean, they're just an amazing leader who took up that baton from California and ran with it here in Connecticut and then passed it off to parents in Texas and Ohio and Illinois and across the country. Parents are simply standing up to say that I am the architect of my child's future. I'm going to fight for my kids' rights to access the American dream, and it begins with education. So that's why I boarded that flight from California to come here and ride this Parent Express bus today, and it has been just amazing to see the tenacity of parents in Connecticut and the willingness that parents have to fight for the most fundamental right that we have, and that's education. And let me just say, it is such an honor because I read about this man. I saw the bill that he introduced. I heard about him from Gwen, and it's an honor actually to be sitting right next to him. He is the person who, in this capital here in Connecticut, took that baton from California and introduced it to fight for a parent trigger type law in Connecticut, again to Jason Bartlett, and it's an honor to be with him on the bus today.
Well, thanks, Gloria. Thank you for coming all the way. It's quite a distance, and that shows your dedication and your commitment to kids and parents. I think for me and how I view education reform, it is the topic, I think, in the country, and the question is, how do you make change in education? And we did a tour through the state of Connecticut and talked to a lot of folks, and talked to parents and teachers and principals and kids and every interest group in the education field, and said, you know, how do we make change here? How do you change failing schools? How do you close the achievement gap? What do we do? And I think the number one theme was the parents have to be involved. The parents have to be involved. We got to do something about the parents. Parent. But when I came down to it, you know, I thought about, well, how do you legislate for parents, or what is the mechanism if parents are really the driving force behind improving our schools and closing an achievement gap? How do you turn that into legislation? And it really was your bill, the Parent Trigger in California, that kind of, I think, captured and encapsulates parental power. And the fact that parents don't really always have a voice at the table. And so that's what we tried to do, was take the Parent Trigger bill from California and make it workable and conducive in the state of Connecticut. and really bring parents' voices to the table. And I got to tell you that even with that bill being done, there's still forces that are always trying to you know, take away the power that's in the bill or act like it's not there and so on and so forth. So the challenge now is to really use these tools that we can put in legislation and make sure that they get through our bus tour today and through whatever other mechanisms to bring it to parents and bring it to kids and say, you know what, here's a failing school here. How do we turn it around and make sure that your voice is at the table? And that's what I think the Trigger bill does, whether it's, you know, the actual decision of closing the school or transforming it into another type of a school, or just, you know, doing something else. The parent's voice has to be heard, and I think that nationally that's really the challenge, is that too often
we are right now, this is an excellent time to be in science. We are really in the midst of a renaissance in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and this in large has to do with the fact that we have global competitiveness. So what has happened is we need more efficient ways to teach math and science, so otherwise if a country is not investing in math and science education, you'll be left behind. And several countries have millennium goals they need to achieve by 2015 to stay competitive in science and math. We are falling behind. Our country's falling behind, and the main reason why we are falling behind is because we are not preparing enough of our citizens to, you know, to basically fill the millions and millions of jobs that are out there now in the future in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics areas. And most of these jobs are paying $60K and higher. And this is not a new problem. I mean, we've been since the launch of Sputnik in 1957, we've been trying to close achievement gaps between our nation and abroad. You know, the USSR launched Sputnik, and scientists and educators were brought together to harness television and, you know, and improve science education. Unfortunately, 54 years later, with 30% of fourth graders, a third of fourth graders, 30% of eighth graders, and 21% of 12th graders, you know, are above. Either proficient or above. So the majority of our kids are not proficient, and for minority populations it's even much, you know, dire. So we need to really look at this problem in another way. If you look at the data and you look at all the research and the studies, what really strikes you is that the key thing that comes out is that student achievement is closely tied to how we engage them in the classroom. So if you look at the data and you look at, you hear from teachers and parents, somehow we are not engaging our kids in the classroom, particularly minority students. So one of there are two key areas that students really need help with when it comes to science and math learning. Learning to learn skills. Learning to learn skills, they basically make it so that if a child is learning, there's a positive return on the learning time. And you know, there are a couple of components: attention, goal setting, cognitive restructuring, and also self-evaluation. When kids are able to build these skills, these thinking skills, when they are learning, they build confidence, and it leads to positive behavior change, which also translates to achievement. There's a lot of studies on that. And the other is core STEM skills. Inquiry, being able to figure something out, design a scientific experiment to investigate what the problem is, and also communicate it in a logical way that people understand the value of what you've discovered. And then the other core literacy skills are reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So what we've done at Y Science is, Y Science, we make, I'm a software company, we make platforms, we design and manufacture platforms to create web tools, interactive software, and media to help educators and students be more fully engaged in STEM learning. And so we're very excited because we just finished launching our new product. It's called Adventures with Polly and Mer. And Polly and Mer are characters that I created to essentially embody everything that's good about STEM instruction. And with the software, essentially what it has a player portion and a facilitator portion. And what the software does, it allows the students to, the software helps the students learn the learning to learn skills and the STEM skills. And this happens while a teacher delivers content. So it's structured so even if you have an older sister or parent, you can give a child an assignment, and by the child interacting with their friends online or with friends, you know, in person, they are building those skills for achievement. And then they're also learning content. And then in the content, the modules we have modules where we've structured so you can build high order skills like numeracy skills, and you know, and depth of content in a particular area, whether it's math or literature or chemistry or whatever you want. So that's essentially what we've done, and we're very excited because that's the basis of our partnership. I think many schools in Connecticut can benefit from this. So we've partnered with Gwen to bring this to many schools, and I think across the nation as well. But let's start with Connecticut first. And I'm also piloting it with in Arizona and Indiana with professional societies in science, like the National Society of Black Engineers and the Association for University Women as well. So these groups are excited because they want to be able to teach STEM more effectively and get more students involved.
So thank you.
So that's it. It's very exciting.
Thank you so much. And I know we had a mouthful, and so we'll be able to bring all this back at some time.
Okay.
But again, thank you so much, Miss Maria. Do you want any closing?
It's an honor to be here. They say that greatness comes from those who serve, and those who serve the heart. So I just feel very honored to be amidst of people who are servants from the heart, and that is very powerful. And I think as that message we brought along the way from all the way through Connecticut, the power lies within. We all have it. We all have the power to be able to bring our dreams, bring those rights we have. And I just want to throw in a little bit about our bilingual children. I'm not like that relay team, you know. Remember when you went swimming and the relay team, you won, then come back.
Right.
As I'm sitting here thinking and I'm listening, you know, I'm reading here the reading success predict question, and coming off of what she had said, the question: if you're in a classroom where you have no language, you're not understanding what they're saying. Talk about participation, talk about development of critical thinking, talk about the development in early childhood and early literacy, which we know is the foundation of success to be able to graduate from high school. We're just not getting it. And a lot of this English only, as you heard my whole spiel all through Connecticut, you know, question the English only. It is an absolute beauty to just revive these languages in our children. They're all wired to speak many languages. So I just thank you, and once again, even with the Latino population, as I come through Connecticut, and as we came through, I had the opportunity to translate for a lot of them, and they were like, we just don't come in because of the language. And I said, okay, there's such a strength in that. We need to turn it around, flip it in, and then put it back in your home. Early literacy, the key to early literacy, phonological awareness, is one of the missing keys to get to success in reading. And it's all done in Spanish. Everything is transferable into English. It's like this little simple thing. It's simple. Why do we always have to, I don't understand it. So the more we teach our parents at home that the mother language, the culture, the love, the bonding, all of these types of things, getting the critical thinking, how them to be able to read a book in their own language, asking some great open-ended questions, conversations with intentionality, we get the push. And our Latinos we're not behind in struggling. So I just want to thank you once again and honor a greatness in this bus. And I love that analogy of being on the bus. So I'm honored. Thank you so much. And keep on serving.